Hello, welcome to Real Talk with Salwa. My name is Salwa. I'm here with my co-host,
Manali.
and this is our continuation of our topic on youth and the challenges facing youth in Uganda. Today we want to talk about employment in Uganda, and we want to discuss: do Ugandan employers actually conform with what the employment laws are, or generally that do they provide conducive work environments for youth to be employed or people to be employed? Because we have had very many youth saying, "Yeah, I cannot get into employment," for it makes fun of the Gen Zs. They don't want to be employed. They want to start their own businesses and become entrepreneurs straight out of university. So we want to see, is the problem with the employment in Uganda? Are the employers doing something wrong? We are just going to discuss casually based on our experiences and our knowledge, knowing the system here in Uganda and how it works. And you will let us know whether or not you agree and what we can do as employers, because we are both employers, to provide conducive work environments for our employees and also encourage youth to join the employment sector. Not everyone should get into business, although it is a good thing. So yeah, so that is what we're going to talk about. So first question, do you think Ugandan employers are good employers? Do they provide conducive work environments for their employees or not? Based on your understanding of the system or the sector, how it works.
Let me start with the general outcry out there.
Mm.
And the most recent, we've had, I think we've had someone who was pushing the policy that medical interns should
Yeah.
not be paid. Let me start with that. This has been a long outcry.
Yeah.
Over the years, medical interns are saying
Medical
we have
interns.
poor working conditions, we are not paid, we are overworked.
Yeah.
Then not only them, when you come to professions like engineering, someone will tell you it takes them about 5 years
to
just
get
to
certified
get certified.
by the
When
ERB.
you come to where we are, we have the young lawyer, senior lawyer, debacle, where young lawyers are saying, I come to your farm, you give me internet, and you give me a desk, and that is what you call employment.
Yeah, that's
So
the job.
the question is, are we really understanding when to employ, how to employ, who to employ, and what this person deserves when they get into employment? I would say that we are largely getting it wrong.
Yeah.
That's why these voices are now coming.
And by the way, it's getting worse because of the increased, unemployment rate. So there is this belief that if you can't do that job, you leave, someone else is happy to do it. And that is very wrong, because that is then exploitation.
Exactly. We are taking advantage of the desperation that people have. We are not doing the right thing as employers. And that is why I think so many other skills are coming up. When you look around, you'll see people who are engaged in multi-level marketing. I've just recently seen on YouTube a group of about 72 youth were arrested in Lira who were engaged in multi-level marketing. Things like these schemes of pyramid schemes.
Yeah.
These are areas where you find over 100 or 200
and people
youth who are there. One, because they are looking for work.
Yeah.
They are innocently coming to apply for a job.
Yeah.
When you look at people who do marketing of products, you move around and you see a young man, young girl carrying about 10 buckets, 5 flasks in his hand, then there are basins in his hand, moving around.
And they are not even their product, it's someone else's product, and then they get like a percentage of whatever they sell that day. Like a very tiny percentage, like 0.1%.
So we are not giving the right environment for people to work.
And so I'm going to say this. I've had the opportunity of working outside of Uganda. I think it is the biggest blessing and also a curse. Because when you get a chance to work in a different environment, you cannot be employed in Uganda. And I saw it when I came back from the USA. So I've had an opportunity to work with companies in the USA. And I can see the huge difference in the way they treat employment. Like for them, employment is a contract between you and the employer. It is not about I know you family or whatever it is. There is no such thing. It is a contract, and there are terms of that contract which the employer is going to observe to the dot. To the dot, in that I was working at the New Jersey Superior Court as a law clerk immediately after my master's.
You worked at the New Jersey Superior Court?
Yeah, as a law clerk after my master's. So during that job, it was a job, like full-time job, you're paid. It was a very good job. You have your own desk, in the workstation where we used to work. And one time we were supposed to stop working at 4:30. So one time I'm like, why am I going back from early? I used to stay alone in my apartment, so let me continue working. And my supervisor came and told me, log out and leave, because you're not supposed to be working over 4:30. So log off and leave. That's what she told me, and I was shocked, because in Uganda, living workplaces, especially now, like in the legal field, especially in the big law firms, if you're leaving your workspace at 5 p.m., imagine the contract says you're supposed to work from 8 to 5. But if you're leaving at 5, you're considered to be a terrible worker, because you're not putting in more effort than is required. But imagine when you're working beyond 5, you're not paid. But remember, if your work hours are 8 to 5, if you're working beyond 5, you're supposed to be paid extra. And actually, that is what used to happen for the jobs where we were paid hourly. This one was, the New Jersey job was a salary job, which means you're not paid per hour. You're paid, a salary, normal salary at the end of the month. But for those jobs where we were paid hourly, if you worked beyond your work, let me say you're supposed to work 8 hours, but you worked 8 hours and 1 minute, you would be paid for that 1 minute. You understand?
Yeah.
So your hourly rate might be, let me say, $16, because they were usually the smaller jobs. $16. If you work beyond, and you're supposed to work from 8 to 8, let me say 12 hours, a shift of 12 hours. If you work from 8 to 8:05, you're going to be paid that for those 5 minutes. They will divide 16, by 60 to see how much you make per minute. And they will pay you that small money that you're making in those 5 extra minutes. That is how much they respect their employees. But also, they provide good working conditions. May you tell people, in the USA, you will get overworked. Like any other, you will work when you go to the job, but you will get compensated for it. We used to have coffee machines at the workplace, because it's big on coffee. And that's how I learned to drink coffee. Coffee machines, and they don't have just coffee. They have latte, they have cappuccino, they have hot chocolate, literally anything you want for free. It's at the expense of the employer, just to make it a conducive work environment for you. You don't have to pack your own coffee or bring in your own coffee. But in Uganda, you can go to a workplace where they don't even have like drinking water for the employees. You have to carry your own water bottle from home. How are we ensuring that our workplaces are conducive? What should we do as Ugandans to ensure that our workplaces are conducive?
Salwa, you talked about something like big law firms. In big law firms, work beyond the time you're supposed to work. I'll tell you something very absurd. It's not only in big law firms. Even in the start-up law firms, small law firms, I've had conversations with some of our colleagues who work in these firms, and it's terrible conditions. Someone tells you, I stay in Beyogere, for example, then my law firm is in Bukasa, but my employer expects me there at 7, then I don't leave. I don't know where that culture came from. In so many law firms,
you're not supposed
to leave before the partners leave office. I find it absurd. Let me tell you.
Imagine you're supposed to work until 5, but you have to stay.
And the annoying thing is that people are given work at the point when they're supposed to be leaving.
Exactly. You stay free the whole day, and then at 4, the partner gives you work, which you have to do before you leave.
I really find it absurd.
It's like Ugandan employers are bullies or sadists. No, seriously though. Because it is that day you have a function on a Saturday. And then they'll tell you have to come in. It is urgent. When you have a function, and you have to now choose, should I go for this function, which is also like important, because you have to have a social life outside of work. or should I go to work and not risk losing my job? So it is very unfortunate, and they do it deliberately in that they don't even ask. Because sometimes if you want someone to work overtime, ask nicely. Please come in, please do this. You have to. Like it is a must. It's not part of your contract, but it is how we do things here. And this is how we do things. This is that it is always this is the norm in these workplaces. This is the norm in the big law firms. This is the norm in the you understand? It is not okay. We can't normalize these things.
Of course we cannot, and we need to be cautious and also study the mental wellness of our employees.
Ugandans don't care about
that. I'll tell you something. I think around the end of last year, one of my employees at the firm wasn't coming in. It's a lady, and I think she had personal issues which she couldn't share with me. So out of the interaction, I realized that maybe if I give them some time off on Friday. So I changed my policy, and I just told them, starting from 3 on Friday. I actually told them we close work at 3 on Friday.
On Friday.
I can tell you that they all welcomed it, and by 3, by 2, everyone would be giving in their report, finalizing, and by 3 they would be out. And you really have no time. I'll tell you, personally, I work in the evening. I come in late and start working. That's when I do my drafting, that's when I do my emails and all that, till late. But I cannot start giving work to someone who is leaving on Saturday. I will work in the evening.
And then saying you want it before that day ends.
Exactly. I will work in the evening, leave the assignments, and expect people to work on them during the day up to when they leave. So we should study and understand that.
So in regards to mental health, what would you advise?
It starts with proper workplace policies.
So what would be a good mental health policy for a
good mental health policy would entail people having some time off deliberately.
Like what?
You can. I've seen that one big organization where they have a room, like their lobby. It has a puzzle. These giant puzzles. And it's for everyone who feels they're tired to come.
I wouldn't want to be in the work environment for my mental health. I would want to be away from it.
Yes, that is acceptable, as long as you make it open to people. You also don't want to start saying.
Do you think having a day off, maybe 2 a month, would be a good workplace? Because we have to make these proposals for people to probably consider in their workplaces. Do you think saying every month we have 1 day off as a mental health day, where we are all not in office? It's a work day, but we are not working. Because for me, I worked at Asylum Access in the USA. That organization had the last Friday of every month was a mental health day, and we didn't work. And if it fell, fell on a holiday, then we would take it on another day, which is not. That means we would have 2 days off in that month. So every month there was that 1 day, and we used to look forward to it. Imagine it was just 1 day, and we didn't have to work. And then we had a day where we didn't have meetings. Wednesday, every Wednesday was no meetings day. Basically, it is a day for you to come to work and do your desktop work to ensure that you're not swamped with meetings. Because remember, workplaces have so many meetings. So on Wednesday, you don't meet clients, you don't talk to anyone within or outside the organization. It is blocked off for all employees. Do you think such policies are policies Ugandan employers should adopt?
Very much, very much. I did not call my day off as I don't know, how did you say at Asylum side?
Asylum mental health
day. For me, it was a social time. The last Friday of the month, we would go have lunch together outside office. After work, we would go have a movie. We would go for an exhibition.
I think that can also be good.
People liked it, and I think it also gives you more time to know and understand the mental status or the mental health.
To know your employees before outside of work. Because it's also important to know your employees outside of work. You get to know what they are struggling with in their personal lives, which affects their work. You'll get to know their strengths and weaknesses. I think it is also important for employers, like you said, to have this time with their employees. Maybe it will help them to come up with better policies, because now you understand the employees beyond what you see in office. Because in office it is like a mask. You show up to work. Nobody understands the person.
Yeah.
But we should always consider the person in everything that we do.
Yeah, but it takes a brain. I'll share a story of Shinobi that he shared on one of those platforms. They had employed ladies in their farm so much. Then a time came when almost every lady was pregnant. Needed to be out. So what do you do with such a situation? You get it? It will force you, or it will ignite that feeling of yes, I'm an employer, and these are ladies. By default, they have to be aware.
Yeah.
So set it up. I read another story in a book called Lean In. It's a book you should read. It's a female IT person. She lives and back. When she worked at Facebook, she realized there was no parking. At some point, she came to work pregnant, and she had to hustle to get parking. Then she moved in the office of her supervisor and told him, I need parking for pregnant ladies.
Yeah.
And it became a policy. Like there was reserved
they need special parking near the building.
Exactly. So, and I think it has now come into our laws gradually. When you look at the amendment, it provides that there should be facilities for pregnant ladies.
Women. And actually, even the Constitution talks about it when it comes to rights of women. We have to always take into consideration the nature of women, because women are different from men.
Sure.
And they need some special attention in so many regards. And by this, they mean if you have toilets or washrooms, you have to ensure it has sanitary material in there for women. They have to be there. As an employer, you have to make it conducive for women, because not every woman is going to remember to carry every day of the month. So it has to be there. And again, in the USA, very common. They were always there. You always found them there. It was not something you had to worry about while at work. But many Ugandan employers, you don't find it. So it is unfortunate. But we have to put these things into consideration, especially if we are employing women. We have to consider that they are also mothers. So they have, for example, when nursing mothers, they need to pump sometimes during the day. It is a natural thing. You cannot prevent it from happening. You have to pump when you need. So there should be a space in the washroom where that can be done privately without everyone knowing or looking into it. Or you need to have, like, now we have electric pumps. There has to be a socket where a mother will have to come in and ensure that she is able to ease herself, because it's very uncomfortable if you're a nursing mom not to nurse. But remember, they can't nurse from work. So they have to pump. It has to happen naturally. So we have to have these policies in place to make it comfortable for women at work. You understand? But let us talk about the thing of payment. This is an interesting one. It is one of the most contentious things in our country. Low pay. Everyone talks about how poor Ugandan salaries are, except for high-ranking government officials and high-ranking officials in non-profit organizations. Many of us who are employed, I'm not employed, but many people who are employed are earning money that can barely sustain them, but also help them set up for retirement. What can we do about low pay? How can we ensure that the pay that we are giving employees is enough to even induce other people to want to join the employment sector?
Salwa, it's a big question. I think among the legal society, the young lawyers mainly, have argued about having a minimum
wage for lawyers.
But remember, the employers are typically capitalistic.
Yeah.
It's a capitalistic setting.
Yeah.
I set up
office about making money
because I want to take something home. So
not something, but a lot.
A lot of it.
Most of it.
So when I employ you and you start looking into how much the boss is getting, it also becomes fair. But that calls us to redefine our work environment. If I have employed you and you can deliver to what I want, and I let you also do your other work, like you said,
to not restrict you
exactly,
on what you can do,
because we can only get it if we also accept the genes of innovativeness.
Today, but the reason why they don't allow that is because they think you're going to walk away.
Exactly, but today, when you talk about innovativeness, today you'll find that on the status of your employee, she or he has another business running. Support my hustle. That's what I call it. And
some don't even allow them, by the way.
Exactly. Some don't allow them. But I would personally think, let me allow it so that someone also gets something extra. So that they are comfortable doing what I give them at the little pay that I give them, but they can earn an extra. I'll give a live example. In my office, my administrator, when we have been with her for 6 years now, when she had started working, she was selling blankets on her status. Then I called her and sat her down and told her, you know what, now we are in legal practice. It's too contrary to what you do. But you can think of something that is in line with what you're doing so that people can easily identify where you are. Let me tell you something. She reads and I read. Right now, she owns a bookshop. Out of it, slowly, she started posting pages in the book she reads and books. Later, it evolved into a real bookshop, online bookshop business. So that is innovative. And I allowed it. And I have seen her grow through it.
But also the problem is sometimes Ugandan employees don't have the discipline to do two things at a time.
Because we have not defined what they should do. Salwa, we've just said, someone is moving out of office at 4, and the partner is moving in to give them 2 files. What have you been doing all along? Why should it wait? Why doesn't it wait for the next day? Because at 4, this person should be socializing and meeting people who could be possible clients for your business. Because she's employed there. He still has to come back. You get it? Let them go, have that social hour, get contacts, bring in business.
But why don't we also make sure that we are paying people better so that they don't have to hustle on the side? I think for me, I'm looking at it from this angle of why don't we have policies in place where you determine people's salaries depending on things like cost of living, things like how much does an average lawyer, for example, need to earn to survive in Kampala? Because you see, when someone is a lawyer, there is a certain lifestyle. They are expected to put on very nice suits. There are those even workplaces where you can't just walk in anyhow. You have to have a very nice suit. A suit costs 300 plus, a good one, for men, for example, but even for women. Now, how are you expecting a person to wear something of 300,000, whereby they need at least 3, and then you're paying them less than even $1 million a month? So for me, my argument is the pay has to be better. I don't want people to go to school and study and then have to worry about side hustles. There are certain countries where a lawyer, for example, in the US, lawyers who work in law firms make very good money. They can make up to 300,000 a year with bonuses included. That is $1 billion here in Uganda. But even in the US, for the US standards, that is very, very good money. So most lawyers, they work for like 5 years, but in 5 years, they have their dream car fully paid off. They have a mortgage, a very good house. And then they know, I'm just working towards paying off my mortgage and then doing other things. They are able to afford a very good life. And there are certain professions which I think should come with a certain level of comfort. You don't go study law for 4 years, add LDC, and then want to live an average life. You want to live in a good apartment. You want to drive a nice car. You want to dress nicely. You understand? So why don't we have, for example, for lawyers, and we are speaking for lawyers because we are lawyers, why don't they have in place saying lawyers want to live in certain environments where the rent is about 500 to 1 million for a 1 bedroom. So we have to make sure we're accounting for that. They want to drive a car of which they're paying. For me, I remember we had a fuel crisis in 2022. You remember that fuel crisis? And we kept going to work every day. There was nothing like all fuel allowance for this period. Nothing. So the salary was exactly the same, but we were spending a lot more on fuel. So at the end of the month, you find that half of your salary is going towards just the fuel. Now, how much are you going to use for the other things that you need in life? But employers never sit down, put these things into consideration. Even right now, we have a fuel crisis. There is certain work that can be done on a computer at home, but employers have not thought about it. So people continue going to work with the crazy fuel prices. People are spending a lot of money on fuel. It is not fair because as an employer, you should be able to sit down with your employees, care about them. It is like pay is the least worry about for employers in Uganda. They don't care how much you're paid, whether it's enough or not, whether it's doing what it's supposed to do or not. What they want is for you to show up at office and work. And by the way, even with the low pay comes words such as, I'm just helping you. I'm going to fire you. You're not doing good enough. I'm giving you my money for free. You understand? It's like the law is bad. The expectations are very high. Very high. It is unfortunate.
It is funny, actually, that some employers don't even expect you to drive. I worked for a certain...
They want you to take a border.
I know I worked for a certain entity, and one of the directors, I would say, went to interview someone, and this person asked for fuel. And when he came back, I heard him sharing with the other directors. This lady even has a car.
Like, it's shocking.
It shocked them. You get it? So
because it's considered that it's expensive.
Yeah.
So
but when we have to think of the standards of determining what one should earn, I think it's a bigger discussion that calls for a national policy. Or
we do need that, because I don't think good in our, but let us have a policy in place.
But you see now,
depending on the profession, depending on what benefits a person gets. Because
let's not tie it to the profession.
No,
because everyone has gone to school to achieve something.
No, we have to.
You cannot state
the investment.
Standards.
The investments in seriously. Now you want can
I out you, Salwa? Have you determined how much the legal profession contributes to this economy? Has anyone sat down to quantify that? No one has sat down to do that. For instance, you don't know how much big law firms bring to this economy in terms of investment, in terms of legal work. No one has sat down to know that when we litigate or when we settle certain matters in business, certain matters in land, we are contributing this much to the economy. Yes, it is prestigious to be a lawyer. Yes, a lawyer has standards to live on, but we also don't know how much he contributes.
Now, for me, this is what I mean when I say depending on the profession. I don't think that for a doctor and a lawyer, the considerations for payment should be the same. Let me tell you something. For doctors, for example, you have to literally consider their transportation. Because a doctor can be paid, I don't know about Uganda, but I assume it's the same thing. I'm sorry, I use examples from the US a lot because my first adulting life was there. So that is where I got to appreciate a lot of things. Doctors can be paid even at 3 a.m. to go in for an emergency. So for such a person, when you're paying them, you have to consider that transportation for those emergencies. You have to make sure their wage can cover for such emergencies. Whereas for a lawyer, it usually can wait. Usually for lawyers, you can wake up in the morning and take your border to work, which is okay. But where is a doctor going to get a border at 3 a.m.? So you have to make sure a doctor can afford a car and has means of transportation, because you're not always going to. There is these emergencies that will come up. So that's why I say it depends on the profession. Honestly, I don't think even people in business. For people in business, I think their considerations should be different than the other people who are not in business. Because even for business people, for them, their way of work is different from other, for example, engineers, doctors, lawyers. Every field or profession is different, and the considerations are different. Maybe for lawyers, you should more probably consider something like meals more, because you have to ensure that it is mainly desktop work, which requires a person to be able to be well fed. And so you have to maybe consider things like how much is this person spending on meals, what are they eating, and also dress code for lawyers again. For doctors, they can wearing all this doctor has to go shopping for suits every month. No, it is not their thing. So in your considerations for their wage, that is not a major factor. But for a lawyer, in the consideration of the wages, the suit has to be a factor. How much it costs, and they need at least one new suit every month for them to be able. That suit that they're going to show up with for a meeting with a big, they're going to come wearing for a meeting with a big client. You know, the client who's going to give you $1 billion shillings. So that is what I'm talking about when I say, I don't mean one profession is more important than the other, but I think considerations should be different. It's like for our house helps at home. We put into consideration things like we give them housing, we give them food, we give them medical. You understand? So even for their wages, and that's why sometimes their wages are really low because they are provided with everything. So we factor in every, and by the way, how much we spend on household is not little money. As a person who has words, it's not little money. It can go up to like 500 a month when you put everything together, including their, salaries and allowances and everything. It can go up to 500 plus a month. But remember, on top of that, you're giving them housing and food and medical. So it is different consideration, but at the end of the day, we should ensure that everyone is able to afford a decent life and also afford retirement, because many people, many Ugandans can't afford retirement. We can't afford to retire. Many of us, with our retirement age is going to come before we even have like decent like retirement plans. All we can think of is NSSF. But how much can NSSF per person?
Getting it itself is a hassle.
Exactly. But also we have not set up ourselves. The salaries do not allow us to set up our retirement. Where you're going to say, I have set this up in my retirement, it's going to give me a big some income. It is very unfortunate. By low pay, it's a very big problem in Uganda.
But another thing is having the professional development plans. Salwa, when someone is employed and paid little, by then at the workplace, there are certain other benefits, like scholarships, supporting their education and career path.
It helps a lot.
Because this person will leave your place, but are they employable to the next employer? That's the question we should have as employers. I speak this because it's policy at my place. I've told you I've been with my admin for 6 years now. When she came to office, I realized she was crossing from a different field to another field. I supported her to do a diploma in law so she can have product knowledge. Right now, I think she's doing her 3rd year in law. So you realize that by the time we part ways, or even if she left today, she can easily apply using her diploma to another law firm or a better law firm for greener pastures. So that path alone covers up for the little pay that this person will
like
get.
there has to be a certain benefit to it. It's not just about the money.
Exactly.
By professional development for many workplaces in Uganda, they don't have them. They don't care about them. They don't even offer, like, I have a friend who was doing an MBA at a summit, and I asked him, because he worked for a big government organization. So I asked him, he was taking leave to do exams. So I asked him, are these days counted as part of your 21 leave days? And it turns out that, he had to use his 21 leave days for the days where he's doing his exams. But you see, as an employer, if you have staff who is in school and they have to do exams, give them that time off, paid time off, because it is something that is going to help you at the end of the day. Don't make them use their leave days for something that is personal development, career development, something that is pushing them to become better, because it is something, the knowledge, whatever they are doing, is helping you to have an employee who has a certain level of education. It boosts your profile. So Ugandan employers don't think like that. Give them that time off. You lose nothing. It's just 1 week, to prepare for exams and do them. But for you to allow a person to put in there, first of all, the days are few, 21, and then take off 5 days to do exams for a course, which I'm going to include on my CV, for a course that is going to boost my profile for your company.
Yeah.
It is very unfortunate. And this is government. You would think government is the one place that would have the most conducive policies when it comes to these things. You understand? So it is quite unfortunate. So poor pay and poor benefits. How do you have poor pay and poor benefits? If you have poor pay, have very good benefits. Okay? You have insurance, medical insurance in place, academic, like professional development policies in place, very good opportunities for that. Have at least food, lunch, or at least a coffee machine somewhere where someone can make some coffee or tea.
And be comfortable.
Be comfortable while working. You understand? Have some coupons at the end of the year. You know, for us, like in the US, at the end of the year, you would get like gift cards, coupons. You would have like end of year party where you're winning major gifts because these people make a lot of money. It is very little giving back to employees at the end of the year, but some people don't even give it. Even like end of year parties or whatever, some of them don't even bother. Like it is not a thing.
But so I think the challenge is we have not differentiated between workplace policies and workplace culture. I would advise anyone using employment to read a book by Reed Hastings. Reed Hastings is the founder of Netflix. The book is called No Rules Rules. At Netflix, there are no rules, and that's their workplace culture. If you want to go for instance, if you're studying, there is no provision for leave. Just go, as long as you.
I remember I actually worked at Amazon, and there were all these policies about if you want to study, they pay for you, and then they give you like so many benefits while you're studying. Like you're allowed to come in late, you're allowed to leave early. It is just so interesting.
Actually, at that very point, our HRs, I don't know which school they have all gone to.
But many people in HR, I don't know.
Everyone somewhere is crying about an HR.
HR is in Uganda, don't know anything about HR.
You find a female employee, things that are really understandable as a female HR, someone comes to you.
Making it really hard for you.
Very hard for you to achieve female-related issues. You get it? I was talking to a lady who has a back problem. I don't know, I forget the real term, but she cannot sit for long. And
probably from childbirth.
And I mean, their HR has failed to understand their issue.
Now in the US, they would allow us to stand up while working, and they had these, desktops which can go up, like desks that can go up. People want to stand, and you would actually stand while working, or have a different seat. They would purchase a different seat for you if you have such problems.
That goes to culture. You need to inculcate.
But you see, again, in the US, the HR and the people culture person are different.
Now we have
for us, we have HR. HR is about hiring and firing. But they have the people culture person who is about a people comfortable, a people taken care of. What is the mental health of the people working here? Like there is a specific employee for that purpose.
Now the HR
and that person works for the people, HR works for the company.
Exactly. The HR person is here. Have confused those
two roles.
Actually,
that is the problem.
They have taken over that role for them to enrich their profile or assure their employers also that they are working.
There has to be a people culture person in a workplace for you to be able to satisfy the requirements or the needs of your employee. Because HR does not work, and everyone says it, HR does not work for people. HR is not about staff. HR is about the company. So it is very unfortunate. But employment in Uganda is a very tricky thing. I think many youth have decided they don't want to join the employment market. They don't want to be employed because of all these things that we are talking about. I think that there is a lot of work to do in regards to employment in Uganda. Of course, some of it requires money, and you have to sympathize with the employers because they also want to make profit. But some of them don't even try. And some don't even require money. Things like mental health could be. So that is something very simple. It's just one day in a month. Give your employees that time off. And some people will, And people will be motivated. Remember, for us, whenever we had that mental health day off, on that Thursday before, we would work because tomorrow I'm not working and then I'm free on Saturday and Sunday. So that Thursday we would all be happy to work because we're like, oh, tomorrow we are off. So it is just, it's a reward. It's small. And I understand some businesses one day is a big deal because, but
surprisingly it's not.
We should also have rotating staff. Maybe we should start having rotating staff.
Not necessarily.
For example, if you have a mental health day off, then you have staff for that day who just come like part-time, who come in for that day, so that your business is not closed, but at least your full-time staff are off. We can also do that. People in the US do it. We used to have per diem employment, where it is per diem, you only call their phone. So let me say someone has a sick child, someone needs a day off, whatever it is, they would just call you as long as you're on their roster. You come in for that day, you do that job for that person. Maybe we need to do such even here in Uganda.
Do you think we are losing time? Employers are losing time because employees are not doing this.
They are losing money. Now there are some employers think we cannot be closed for one day.
No, let me ask you a question, Salwa. On average, how much time do you think a woman spends in the mirror in their lifetime?
In their lifetime, I can't tell.
Estimate.
I can't tell, but in a day, I can't tell.
Much? Do you think it's too much time?
Based on myself, I don't know really, but for me, I don't spend much time in a mirror.
Okay. Do you think you would have spent about 10 years in the mirror?
I'm not sure at all.
Research has it that average time is 2 years. So you have spent time that amounts to 2 years
in a mirror.
You get it? So if you're the employer who thinks this person is late, so I have lost too much time. The ladies are moving to the washroom so much, so they need to be on their desk too much. No, it's little time. It's little time. 1 day of work is very little.
By the way, even breaks at work. In Uganda, you go to work at 8 and you're expected to work until 5 without a break in between, except a lunch break. But don't you think we need a break between 8 and 1?
We really do.
There should be a break there where you're allowed to do whatever you want, like for 15 minutes. And this was the culture at the New Jersey, state court, the Superior Court. 15 minutes in the morning, and you had to take it. Like your supervisor would come and tell you, it is time for your 15-minute break, because you would tell them what time you're taking it every day. So for me, it was 8 to 4:30. So I would take my morning break at around like 11. So at 11, she would come and tell me, Salwa, time for your break, go. And then you have to go outside and just loiter around for 15 minutes, then come back to your desk. But you had to leave your desk. She had to make sure. And then at 1, you take the lunch break. Again, leave your desk, go to the cafeteria. Whether you're going to have lunch or not, leave your desk. She would make sure of it. And then in the afternoon, again, after lunch, at around 3, you take another break, the 15-minute break. So, and even at Amazon, because I worked at Amazon as well, same culture. So it's really important for us to have this break. Now, in Uganda, they just assume, the break you're taking is the conversation you're having with your colleague there for 2 minutes, which is not okay. It has to be a real break where I'm moving out of office and no one expects me to be at my desk. We don't have that. Basically, it is a lot of work and no play. No work-life balance. Employment in Uganda is hard. It is tough.
The fact that
and you can tell that the only way you can stay employed in Uganda is if you're really patient. If you have a lot of patience, if you're not someone who is in a high-ranking office or position.
Let's not mistake patience with affecting people's mental health.
I think that's what I'm saying. Like, it is people. That's what I'm saying. It's people who are patient, who are able to say, this is it. I'm just going to, withstand whatever. And employers take advantage of that.
Which is unfortunate.
Ugandans need to learn to advocate for themselves also.
Just like we are talking about it on the topic, Salwa, we also need people to comment, people to give us their experience, and if possible.
And call out companies.
Exactly.
We should start calling them out. We should commend companies like NSSF that have nurseries and have very good benefits for their employees. We should commend them.
Even Parliament they were putting up
a nursery. Now, for me, I carry my babies everywhere, and I cannot leave them anywhere. I feel like I would. That's one of the reasons why I'm not employed in Uganda, because I need to come with my baby to work. If there is no nursery, I have no business working in a place. These are really important things for us to have. For that, by the way, you cannot have a mother leaving a 3-month-old child at home and you expect them to be at their best at work with their child at home with a maid. They are checking the camera all the time. They are calling the maid. So you're not even, this person is not even at their best. And you can't think of, oh, we need a nursery. We need a small room where this baby will come with a maid and they can sit there in that corner.
I've actually just
because I would be very comfortable. But I would not even check on them, knowing they are just in the next room. I would not even check on them. But if they are home, I would call like 10 times a day, find out how my child is doing. So how is that productive to you as an employee? It doesn't make sense, some of these things. I think Ugandan employers are not very progressive in the way they think. No offense, but we need a people culture part. We need people to go and study these things of actually being a people culture person.
On your last point, I've actually just written an article about child disappearances and kidnaps. When you peruse social media these days, almost every other day, there's a post of
a child disappearance.
And the reason started there. Sometimes someone picked them from school.
Yeah.
But
sometimes they were going to school.
If you don't go with your child, if you're not near the facility where your child studies, even the school do not know who to give this child to. So someone will easily come in as auntie, uncle, and these children also, when they're moving, even in the van, there's an attendant who is auntie. So someone can easily go to the school, fetch your child, check them. So it is critical that as an employer, you mind about that. Give them time to say, you know what, it's 12:45. You can rush to your child's school
and
pick them up, or go sign for them, hand them to the right van person, and then come back. So you are assured that your child reached home.
So or leave early on this day, pick up your child from school, go home.
So that's critical, and I think in our comment section, people can also give us their opinions and ideas. Also call out those HRs that are not minding about you.
We need to do better as employers in Uganda. We need to benchmark on other countries. We need to, because we have to ensure that our employees are well catered for. It improves productivity. For me, I remember when we worked from home during COVID. It's interesting. That is when we were most productive, because we were working at our own pace. We were doing things at our own pace. We were doing things at the comfort of our home. We were very productive. And actually in the US, statistics came out that people were very productive during when they were working remotely, most people. So it is interesting. And also it is not difficult to set certain goals for your, because for us, we were required to do 12 judgments a day. When I was working as a law clerk, we used to enter uncontested judgments. We were required to do 12 judgments a day. So you get a file, you review it, you enter a judgment, as long as it's not contested. So these were default judgments of sorts. So 12 a day, as long as you do 12 a day, you have satisfied the requirements for that day. It doesn't matter that you have entered one at 12, or the other one at 4. As long as they are 12 in a day, it means you have done your part. So it's not difficult to have such policies in place and prevent your employees from driving to go to a place where they don't have to be physically. Because you're saving now, if you're paying them little, at least help them save on fuel. Come in 3 days a week, the other days you work from home. But as long as you can do ABCD, you are doing your job. It's not difficult to manage, because they always have these excuses of people will not work if they work from home. So if you cannot control your employees outside of your workspace, then you're not a good employer. You should be able to control them, even from outside of your workspace.
But history also has it. The development of communism started just like that. People, the employees, the workers in factories and industries thought that they were giving too much and
getting little.
So they thought that they need to have a share into what they were contributing their effort. So it is, I mean,
and that's why very many people are leaving, starting their own things, doing their own businesses, not giving. And we're going to end up with very bad employees, because now you have the very poor standard, because the good standard is moving away. Anyway, let us close this discussion on employment. It's been very interesting. Problems facing the youth, because with employment, it's mainly youth, especially with our population. So we are advocating for youth by highlighting some of the issues they face. This is a very interesting topic and discussion. We're going to keep having more of these discussions. Also in our e-learning series that I talked about earlier, we're going to be learning about the law in regards to employment, because some people do not know. Some people sign contracts not knowing what they're signing. It's even in contravention with the law. Can you imagine? Some people sign contracts where they have like 10 annual leave days, yet the Employment Act says 21 minimum. You understand? So we are going to look at the law on employment at some point, and we shall tell you what are the bare minimum your employer should do for you. So this is a very interesting topic. Please comment, tell us what you think about employment in Uganda. We are not against employment. We are trying to ensure that employers do better while maximizing profit, but also thinking about the people that they employ. Exactly. So thank you very much for watching this segment. See you in our next segment. Bye.